how you see China's cooperation with Pakistan in multiple domains, including defense and security, particularly in Pakistan Air Force JF Thunder 17 and J-10C.
This relationship is based on three principles, which is one is very high degree of mutual trust, mutual support, and mutual respect.
After this ceasefire between Pakistan and India, how China views security situation, security balance in South Asia?
China wants to have de-escalation, which is gradually taking place. China wants the ceasefire to move from, an ad hoc to a permanent basis.
What was the reason of this very strong bondage of relationship despite many, many regional developments, Western pressures, things like that?
This is a relationship that has withstood the test of time. It has withstood changes at domestic level or regional level or international level. Without introducing myself as ambassador of Pakistan, when I say simply that I am from Pakistan, so the first word that people utter is "Patiye." Patiye in Chinese means iron brother.
Since you are a top diplomat in Beijing, so would you like to share what things China will be offering in CPAC 2?
Pakistan and China have agreed to extend China-Pakistan Economic Corridor to Afghanistan.
How three countries made any commitment as far as counter-terrorism cooperation is concerned?
There was also agreement, and it was reiterated that each of the countries will not allow their territory to be used for terrorist purposes or for attacks against other countries.
What assurances Pakistan has given to Chinese side that there will be more robust security for Chinese working on different projects across Pakistan?
Our two sides have also developed very robust standard operating procedures in terms of making sure that the Chinese workers, engineers, they feel safe.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to Program Insight in V News English. Dear viewers, when we talk of Pakistan-China relation, both countries enjoy extraordinary relations. And it's not only extraordinary, Pakistan and China relations are of strategic nature. In a recent conflict between Pakistan and India, China stood with Pakistan and extended moral, political, and diplomatic support. And it was not only moral, diplomatic, and political support. Pakistan won the war against India with the defense technology that was of Chinese origin, particularly JF Thunder and J-10C. And it has been on record said by military officials during the briefing that the cyber technology was also provided to Pakistan. So in today's conversation, we will discuss Pakistan and China's strategic relationship, recent visit by Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Dar, to Beijing, during which he held meetings with the top Chinese leadership, including Chinese Foreign Minister. And we will also discuss about CPAC 2, that in CPAC 2, what China offers to Pakistan. On the sideline of these bilateral meetings, there was another important hurdle, and that was Pakistan, Afghanistan, and China meeting. The foreign minister of three countries, along with the top officials, also joined a brainstorming session how Pakistan, Afghanistan, and China could extend close cooperation to each other. And most important thing was that all three countries agreed that three countries will definitely join together, will join efforts, will make efforts in counter-terrorism domain. To discuss this all, we are fortunate to have with us Pakistan's ambassador to People's Republic of China, Ambassador Khalil Hashmi. And despite a very busy schedule, he has spared time and joined our program. Very warm welcome to Program Insight in B News English, Excellency Khalil Hashmi Sahab.
Thank you very much, Mateen Sahab, for having me.
Yes, it's always pleasure to have with us. I would like to just begin that the whole world has witnessed this conflict between Pakistan and India, and it was definitely China and many other countries as well. Turkey provided diplomatic support. Turkey stood with Pakistan. It was Azerbaijan as well. It was Iran as well. It was many other countries who stood with Pakistan. And finally, there was American intervention as well, due to which both countries agreed on ceasefire. But our focus is on Chinese cooperation with Pakistan. How you see China's cooperation with Pakistan in multiple domains, including defense and security, particularly in Pakistan Air Force, JF Thunder 17 and J-10C. Ambassador Hashmi Saab.
Thank you once again. I think Pakistan-China relationship, friendship, and partnership is as robust as ever. We are strategic partners. This year, just 3 days ago, we celebrated our 74th anniversary of the establishment of our diplomatic relations. Pakistan-China defense relations are also very long-standing, and our two countries have been collaborating. We have done joint production of aircrafts, other equipment. So it's a very long-standing cooperation and relationship, which is beyond also defense cooperation in diplomatic area, economic trade, investment, people-to-people exchanges, and so on and so forth. So it's as robust as ever. It's a friendship of all seasons and all weathers. And this relationship is based on three principles, which is one is very high degree of mutual trust, mutual support, and mutual respect.
Recently, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mr. Sagdar visited China and held meeting with the Chinese Minister for Foreign Affairs. There was trilateral. Share with us that what was the basic objective of this visit to China? Was it only to express gratitude and say thanks to the Chinese leadership that the support, moral, political, and diplomatic support they provided, they stood with Pakistan during this 4 days conflict of Pakistan with India?
Well, as you know, we have a very established tradition of closely consulting each other, communicating with each other on strategic matters, and also exchanging notes. So this is a regular feature. It happens at various levels, at the foreign ministries level, between the embassies and foreign ministries, and at the higher level, which in this case was the foreign minister, deputy prime minister level. It was an important visit in the sense that it came after our conflict with India. And of course, part of it was to thank the Chinese leadership for an excellent coordination and support, but also to exchange notes on our bilateral relations, which are very robust. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, our future calendar of meetings, our institutional, follow-up of various mechanisms. Also, the forthcoming this year, the Prime Minister will undertake a visit in the context of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It will also have a bilateral component. So this was, a second piece of it. And the third piece was also to review briefly our practical cooperation in several areas, people-to-people exchanges. As I said, the visit also took place on the eve of the 74th, anniversary of our diplomatic relations. There was a brief exchange on how and which activities we will, jointly undertake in connection with the 75th anniversary of the diplomatic relations, which falls next year.
That's very true. And I would like to seek your comment how China views now security situation in South Asia. And when there was tension between Pakistan and India, when the escalation was quite high, China was concerned, and China also called for de-escalation. So After this ceasefire between Pakistan and India, how China views security situation, security balance in South Asia.
Well, specific to this crisis or situation in the region, China's role has been very productive and very helpful. China played a mediatory role also. Chinese position is shaped by its what it calls its neighborhood policy or neighborhood diplomacy. Mm-hmm. And the central feature of that neighborhood policy is to have a peaceful neighborhood, which means the principles of peaceful coexistence, the primacy of dialogue and diplomacy over confrontation or conflict. So China sees, China wants to have de-escalation, which is gradually taking place. China wants the ceasefire to move from, an ad hoc to a permanent basis. And China wants, the issues and disputes in the South Asian region resolved peacefully and diplomatically.
Including Jammu and Kashmir dispute between Pakistan
and India? Of course, China's position is very clear that the Jammu and Kashmir is a dispute from the past, and it needs to be resolved in accordance with the UN Security Council resolutions and bilateral agreements. That's a very clear position that China has.
Excellency, as you mentioned that 3 days before Pakistan and China celebrated 74th anniversary of their diplomatic relation, precisely tell us over last 74 years, despite many turbulences in international relations, regional international developments, Pakistan and China remain committed to its friendship, cooperation, and particularly this strategic relationship. So what was the reason of this very strong bondage of relationship despite many, many regional developments, Western pressures, things like that, right? If we see last, of course, these more than 7 decades, there have been no effect of these things as far as bilateral relations are concerned.
It is certainly true, and it is borne out of evidence that Pakistan-China friendship has always been on an upward trajectory. We have said many times, and it is also borne out of facts, that this is a relationship that has withstood the test of time. It has withstood changes at domestic level or regional level or international level. So this is a very unique relationship in terms of interstate relations. We have seen in many other cases in our own bilateral relationships, other important relationships, there have been ups and downs. And there have been sometimes more ups, in some cases more downs than ups. But this is a very steady relationship. And always has been on the move and on the upward trajectory. I think the reasons are very obvious. First and foremost, we have our shared interests. We have a shared perspective on how we see the world. We have also a large degree of a shared historical experience from colonialism. We also see the world in many ways from a similar lens, and we want to see a world which is fair, which is based on justice and rule of law. So there are a lot of commonalities. The other factor is that this is a relationship which is very robust, but not just by coincidence. There are leaders and our diplomats and our so many other people on both sides. They have worked and nurtured this relationship for decades. And the third feature is that our two countries have very solidly stood by each other and supported each other in times of difficulties and in times of crisis. So this is a relationship which is based on mutual respect, mutual support, mutual benefit, and a very high degree of mutual trust.
So currently the world is changing. There are so many titanic changings taking place in the world, particularly when we see trade, economy, defense, and number of other new global policies being announced by Washington. Despite these all different type of strategic and geopolitical changings, and how you see Pakistan-China relations in the years to come now?
Pakistan-China relationship, first and foremost, is not directed at third parties. I think this has to be very clear. Pakistan-China relationship is meant to for positivity, for common development, for realization of common aspirations of millions of people in the developing world. This is a relationship which seeks fairness and justice, which seeks supremacy of international rule of law. So this is a relationship which is also anchored very much on the principles and purposes of the UN Charter and the upholding of international law. So this is how I see it, and I think going forward, this relationship, since it is grounded on very solid foundations, it will grow even further and get even more stronger.
Now coming to recent high-level consultations between Pakistan and China at foreign ministers level. Pakistan was represented by Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. And later on in a briefing, Pakistani Deputy Prime Minister said that China in principle agreed on CPAC 2. So since you're a top diplomat in Beijing, so would you like to share what things China will be offering in CPAC 2? And what will be the other aspects of this CPAC 2 and how it will benefit for Pakistan?
Well, as you said, the Deputy Prime Minister has held a detailed press conference. He has given details of what was discussed. As to what would China offer, I think both Pakistan and China have agreed to extend China-Pakistan Economic Corridor to Afghanistan. And as you know, the CPAC itself was in its initial phase very much focused on promoting connectivity. And what we mean by connectivity is transport infrastructure or communication infrastructure. In the case of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, energy was also another major piece of it. So I think there will be a major focus on connectivity, which means road transportation, railway transportation, and other communication links, which can, make Afghanistan as a true transit state for linkages between South Asia and Central Asia, and China and Afghanistan, and Central Asia and West Asia and Pakistan. So connectivity is a major piece of it, and of course, there are many other resources in Afghanistan. For example, rare earth materials, mining, agriculture, other industrial areas of cooperation. So I think there is a huge scope, but it will have to follow probably a more phased and a gradual approach. And first phase or first piece of it would have to be connectivity, which means laying the foundation for other things to follow. So inevitably, that means having the right infrastructure in place to build on industrial, agriculture, or other areas.
Excellency, in 2024 and 2025, we have seen there have been tremendous cooperation between Pakistan and China in the field of aerospace technologies, and Pakistan benefited closely. Some of Pakistan's short-sized rockets were uploaded with the Chinese space shuttle. And connected to this is satellite technology, which China is considering to extend to Pakistan for multiple purposes, as you said earlier, agriculture, Nowadays, agriculture could also be modernized with the help of this satellite technology, climate change, and things like that, defense, science, technology. So, how in two domains, satellite technology and airspace technology, how Pakistan and China are cooperating with each other, and how Pakistan can get more benefit, which is not as far ahead as China is in this field.
Our cooperation, bilateral cooperation in space and aerospace is again very long-standing. Both countries have cooperated with each other in the space area. For example, you rightly mentioned there was an iCube cover cube satellite, which was a smaller one. I think one of the best examples of that cooperation was this was in many ways not just Pakistan-China collaboration, but also an international cooperation, because there were other small satellite pieces of other countries. For example, France was there, and the European Union was there. But I think what struck me was one of the pictures that was taken by iCube satellite of moon and sun, and at a particular time. So the Chinese National Space Agency has gifted that picture, and I have got it framed and I have put it in my office just to showcase one of the so many other facets of Pakistan-China friendship. You also saw, last year the launch of the multi-dimensional or MM1 satellite, which is a communication satellite. We have other Earth observation satellites. We are also, building on our cooperation with China on Beidou navigation satellite. So there are many dimensions of either, communication satellites or observation satellites for communication purposes, for educational purposes, for research purposes. So it is very robust, and you will see in the coming days this cooperation getting more deepened. We have both our countries have already also agreed to send a Pakistani astronaut into a Chinese space station. So for that, there was a ceremony held earlier this year in Pakistan. An agreement was signed. So two young people would be shortlisted. They will go through training, and I think next year they will get their training, and probably late next year or in 2027, the first Pakistani astronaut will go to the Chinese space station. So this is an indicator of the progress that is being made and achieved by both sides in the area of space cooperation.
Excellency, Ambassador Hashmi Saab, there was another important development in Beijing that Chinese, Afghan and Pakistani foreign minister had trilateral meeting, which was also attended by the special representatives and top officials from 3 countries. Focus was more cooperation in counter-terrorism domain. And as you said, China has been quite concerned about security situation in South Asia. Afghanistan is part of South Asia. So share with us that what was the basic concern, and on what points 3 countries agreed as far as improving security situation, fighting counter-terrorism. And as I'm talking to you short while ago, Pakistani military spokesman DG ISPR Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif Chaudhry specifically spoke about terrorism emanating from Afghanistan in Balochistan. And Balochistan is the place where most of the important CPAC-related projects are in progress. And Pakistan also received condolences and strong condemnation to Khuzdar bus incident in which school children were targeted. So Pakistan's concern is also security. So please share with us how 3 countries made any commitment as far as counter-terrorism cooperation is concerned. Share some more details about this.
Yes, this was an informal meeting of the trilateral mechanism. The formal meeting, three sides agreed that the sixth meeting of the mechanism of the foreign ministers, the trilateral mechanism, that will take place in Kabul this year. So security and counterterrorism was part of that conversation. Of course, there were other subjects that were discussed also, as I mentioned earlier, connectivity, extension of CPAC to Afghanistan, and other, areas of common interest between the three countries. So I think there was also agreement, and it was reiterated that each of the countries will not allow their territory to be used for terrorist purposes or for attacks against other countries. And also it was the three sides reiterated a condemnation of terrorism in all its forms. If we also had discussions on enhancing and accelerating action against terrorist groups such as TTP, ETIM, ISKP, who are active there. So I think it was a good conversation, and in the lead up to, in many ways, this was a preparatory meeting of the trilateral mechanism. And there are other subsidiary bodies, for example, the director general level or senior official level, mechanism or working group to discuss in more detail about the security and counterterrorism matters. So I'm very hopeful that going forward and ahead of that next sixth round of trilateral dialogue between the foreign ministers, security and counterterrorism will be an important piece of work. And I think after the visit of the Deputy Prime Minister to Kabul last month, there has been some forward movement. And my sense of that meeting, I was there, that further progress on that front we will hopefully see in the days and weeks ahead.
One is very alarming that in Pakistan over the last many years, Chinese, particularly those Chinese who have various projects, they were targeted and killed. So China has been conveying concern about the security of its particularly professionals, engineers, people working on different projects. What assurances Pakistan has given to Chinese side that there will be more robust security for Chinese working on different projects across Pakistan?
Well, as I said, Pakistan, China have a very high degree of trust. Of course, China has expressed concerns over the safety and security of its people in Pakistan. Our two countries, they remain in close communication with each other. They exchange notes, they exchange information and intelligence also. And we also work on, capacity building and equipment, counterterrorism related equipment. Our two sides have also developed very robust standard operating procedures in terms of making sure that the Chinese workers, engineers, they feel safe when they are in Pakistan. And I think our law enforcement authorities have done a great deal of work in plugging some of the gaps that may have existed. So my sense is that the Chinese side has deeply appreciated the steps that we are taking. It remains a work in progress, and I think the Chinese are appreciative of the steps that we are taking. And as you know, security, improving security is also a function of perception. So we have done everything that we can, and we are determined to, keep our guard high and take all the necessary measures. But for people who may be planning to visit, they may have a certain perception. But I think over time, this should improve. And one indicator of that is last month when I also came to Lahore. In 2024, the Expo on Engineering and Healthcare that is held in Lahore every year. So 2024, 100 Chinese companies came to Pakistan. This year, we were able to bring 200 Chinese companies to Pakistan. So this is an indicator of the growing confidence in our ability to provide safety and security.
Taking you back to Pakistan-India conflict, where entire Pakistani nation, political leadership, military leadership, Pakistani people deeply appreciated definitely Pakistan's armed forces, all Pakistan Air Force, Pakistan military and Navy, and out of three, mainly Air Force and military, for giving a befitting response to India. When we talk of Pakistan Air Force, it was, of course, Chinese PL-15 missiles, which are no more secret, and particularly GF Thunder, J-10C. So share with us that, of course, it was not only these fighter jets and equipment, it was training par excellence of Pakistani fighter pilots who definitely fought this war with India and destroyed Indian arrogance, particularly Rafale and other jets. So share with us the Chinese feeling. The Chinese must be quite satisfied and happy with the performance of whatever they provided to Pakistan. And first time it was war certified and war tested equipment, whatever China provided to Pakistan.
Well, this is something to be, commented on on people who are on the defense side or who are the manufacturers of the aircraft. What I can share with you is the general sentiment among Chinese people. And we have seen, a very robust and positive feelings towards Pakistan during this time of crisis.
Particularly Chinese people, you are referring to the public sentiments. Great.
Chinese people, yes. There was a huge degree of support and support for Pakistani stance, which was based on very reasonable grounds, which is to have an independent and impartial investigation before taking any action. And also Pakistan's position and policy of restraint and de-escalation, and to resolve matters through dialogue. So all in all, I think so. This was this was one aspect of it, and the other aspect of the joy or happiness of the Chinese public was over how Pakistani pilots used the Chinese technology, the fighter planes, and the other components that you refer to, and then they were able to repel the Indian aggression. So this is something a very widely felt sentiment among the Chinese public that I have seen, and I think it equally applies to Pakistani people also, their feeling and their goodwill towards China.
Lastly, I would like to seek your comment on an area which we missed, that is economic and trade cooperation between Pakistan and China. When we talk of bilateral trade, that is, of course, in Chinese favor. So in the years or time to come, how you see growing trade and economic ties between Pakistan and China, other than Chinese loans and things? Our specific point is particularly improving trade relations, particularly improving Pakistani exports to China.
First, we are very focused and we are prioritizing our work. Most of our effort is focused on promoting investments and promoting the volume of trade between our two countries, and also addressing the trade deficit that you referred to. How are we doing it? We are doing it through, first and foremost, we have carried out, the embassy on its own initiative carried out an internal analytical study looking at the overall annual Chinese imports. So China on an average imports $2.5 trillion worth of goods. So we started looking at who is selling China what and in how much quantities, and what are Pakistan's existing advantages.
That is the global figure you are giving, 2.5 trillion global figure. Okay.
Yes. So we looked at our share of of the bilateral trade in that overall, which is of course very modest. But this was part of our analysis, and we came to the conclusion that we identified or prioritized 21 sectors of Pakistan's economy where we either have a comparative existing advantage or we can have potential advantage. But so our effort was, we have identified the sectors, but then how do we harness Chinese technology, Chinese finance, and Chinese management practices so that we encourage the Chinese companies in these 21 sectors and take them to Pakistan to form joint ventures. Why do we want to do this? I think our objective is very clear. We have on our own not been able to enhance our productive capacity without having sufficient export surplus, without increasing our productive capacity. I think it would only remain a dream of talking of enhancing our exports. So this is our objective. This is what we are doing. And in the last 1 year, less than 1 year, in 11 months, we have been able to convene over 2,200 B2B meetings, over 100 MOUs, and the worth is over $1.2 billion. In the next program, when we do that, I will explain to you what are those sectors, what are the deals, and this $1.2 billion figure is over $250 million out of this figure is pure contracts, not MOUs. The others are MOUs. We are tracking them, and as they graduate from being just a matter of intent to concrete agreement or contracts. So we are hosting B2B roadshows in China. We have done 6. We have planned 8 for this year, and there is much more that I would be happy to share when we have more time.
Quickly, I heard that you're visiting some of Pakistan's study centers in different Chinese university. One question with 2 short parts: how Pakistan is treated, how common Chinese academia, researchers, scholars, students, because China is of course a very big state, how Pakistan is viewed, what is Pakistan's perception in China, and how these Pakistan study centers will be projecting Pakistan?
Well, the short answer is very, very positively. And I can tell you that I have only 2 provinces are left. I have visited almost all provinces, all autonomous regions or municipalities of China. So places far away from Beijing or close to Beijing. So 8 out of 10 interactions, just to give you a rough example. When I meet people and without, so without introducing myself as ambassador of Pakistan, when I say simply that I am from Pakistan, so the first word that people utter is "Patiye." Patiye in Chinese means iron brother. So this is the one indicator of the overwhelming positive sentiment that Chinese people have towards Pakistan and Pakistani people. So I think it's a great asset. There's no such comparable relationship or friendship or brotherhood that Pakistan has.
Thank you so much, Excellency Ambassador Hashmi Saab, Khalil Hashmi Saab, for your very, very valuable, insightful thoughts on Pakistan-China relations, and particularly most important sentiments of the Chinese people that you have conveyed to our millions of viewers, that during conflict with India, Chinese were very happy on the use of the technology that they provided with trust to Pakistan. And of course, the last sentence you said that wherever you interact with the Chinese people, they always says, and they are always proud of Pakistan China friendship, and they always call it as Pakistan China as Iron Brothers. Despite your very busy schedule, you spared time and participated in our program. Dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.